After Jet and I had a fake divorce, he promised to remarry me in 2 months. But when I found him, he was laughing and flirting with his mistress. Jet, are you really going to remarry your ex-wife? Fake promise. I just lied to make her agree to divorce me quickly. Later, when I was intimate with my current husband at home, Jet suddenly showed up to catch us in the act. How could you do this to me? Don't forget we're only fake divorced. Jet roared at me with bloodshot eyes. Really? I don't remember that. Then what am I now? Ex-husband, of course. Today marks the 5th month of my fake divorce with Jet. I came to the company to find him. When are you going to remarry me? It's been almost half a year already. What happened to what you promised me back then? Jet sat behind his desk, his indifference shielded by the prescription glasses on his face. Let's wait a little longer. It was the same old line again. Just as I was about to lose my temper, he slid a bank card toward me. All right, go out now, don't make a scene. I still have work to do. With a faint bitter smile, I tugged at the corner of my lips. Then I took the bank card. The moment the office door clicked shut, the smile on my face could no longer be contained. He thought I was still in the dark, but little did he know I'd already uncovered the truth. While he still felt some guilt toward me, I might as well take advantage and fleece him a bit more. Since there's no love left, I'll settle for a whole lot of money. I didn't leave the company right away. Instead, I headed to the restroom. But just as I stepped out, I heard Jet's voice. Perfect timing, there's one more thing I wanted to talk to you about. What's wrong? What happened? This is Knox's voice. The two of them have known each other for 10 years and can be considered the best of brothers. I still remember what Jet once told me, even if everyone in the world betrayed him, his best friend Knox would always stand by his side. The reason was that during high school, when the two went swimming together, Jet nearly drowned due to a leg cramp. Knox was the first to notice something wrong and promptly rescue Jet. As the saying goes, this is a life and death bond. Today Sarah came over. I raised an eyebrow, because Sarah is my name. Jet sighed again. She's been asking me about getting back together, and I really want to tell her that I won't remarry her. But I'm afraid she'll have a breakdown. You know, she chased me for 4 years back then, loved me to death. I'm really scared that if I tell her, she'll lose it. Are you crazy? Knox looked somewhat surprised. You're overthinking it. Never mind, you're the only mutual friend between her and me. When you see her, try to prepare her mentally a bit more so I can tell her about this matter later. Of course, your business is my business. Knox replied promptly, all right, if there's nothing else, I'll head off first. With that, Knox turned and left. I twitched the corner of my mouth and walked out of the company as well. At a glance, I saw the car waiting for me. As soon as I got in, I locked lips with the man who had been waiting for me. Suddenly, he gave me a light bite, causing a slight sting. I looked up at him. Knox, why did you bite me? Knox reached out and touched my cheek. His large, warm, and dry hand pressed tightly against me. Because I hate that you went to see him. I chuckled and leaned into his arms. So you just followed me here, huh? Right. Knox hugged me tightly, his warm voice resonating in my ear. I can't wait to tell the whole world that you're with me. I patted Knox's shoulder with a playful laugh. Just wait a little longer. Knox didn't complain or ask any questions, simply agreeing with a single okay. Actually, I don't even know what I'm waiting for. I think maybe in my heart, there's hatred towards Jet. Just as Jet said. I chased him from his freshman year all the way to his senior year, for whole years. I never missed a single chance to see him, tirelessly introducing myself over and over again, just so he would remember me. During these 4 years, I confessed to him 4 times. Without exception, I was rejected every time. But I never thought of giving up. I still showed up by his side as usual. The turning point came after one of his car accidents. At that time, I took the initiative to care for him. For 3 whole months, I stayed in the hospital. As if his pain had become my own, I exhausted every means to bring him happiness. Perhaps moved by my actions, he felt that failing to take responsibility would be an insult to his integrity. On the very day he was discharged from the hospital, he asked if I would marry him. Without hesitation, I said yes, tears streaming down my face. After that day, defying my parents' objections, I secretly went with him to register our marriage. I hadn't returned home for a long time, I couldn't bear to face them. Later, I often pondered one truth: never mistake gratitude for love. While he destroyed himself, he destroyed me too. I gave him everything, betrayed everything for him. Yet even the divorce was a scam he pulled on me. How ridiculous. The next morning, as soon as I woke up, I saw the news about my visit to Jet's company yesterday trending online. The headline blared: Jet's ex-wife allegedly forces reconciliation by showing up at his office. I tugged at the corner of my mouth and was about to lie back down to sleep when the door was suddenly knocked on urgently. Through the peephole, I saw a woman standing outside. She had a tall figure with curves in all the right places, her brown curls cascading down her chest, a completely different type from me. I remember her. The first time I saw her was inside the private room. That day happened to be the 2-month deadline Jet had promised me, and I went to find him to remarry. Through the slightly ajar door of the private room, I saw her sitting in Jet's lap, laughing and joking. "Jet, are you really going to remarry your ex-wife?" Fake promise. I just lied to make her agree to divorce me quickly. The last words were Jet's. At that moment, I felt as though I had plunged into an icy abyss, my heart seemingly carved out of my chest. I saw no blood, yet the pain was unbearable. In the end, Knox was the one who led me away. He sat with me in the cafe for as long as I stayed. That was also the day Knox told me he would stand by my side. I asked why. He said he loved me, that he had loved me from the very first moment he saw me. Love me? I couldn't help but sneer. Love? What is love? I'm already confused enough. So I laughed mockingly and said, "If you love me, let's get married tomorrow." I want to mercilessly mock love. I want to prove that love is the cheapest thing in this world. The door was suddenly banged twice by a woman, abruptly interrupting my train of thought. I quickly texted Jet with my head down. "A beautiful woman is here to see you." With that, I opened the door. "Can I help you?" I asked the woman. She gave me a dismissive once-over and said, "I have something to discuss with you." "Aren't you going to invite me in?" Before I could refuse, she confidently strode into the room and sat down on the sofa as if she owned the place. "My name is Talia, I'm Jet's girlfriend," she said straight to the point. I nodded indifferently, not understanding what she meant. She seemed very dissatisfied with my attitude and raised her voice. "I came here today to tell you that Jet will never remarry you. Stop going to his company to look for him. Now it's stirring up a lot of gossip online. Every time you look for him, you just cause him trouble. Do you understand?" "Oh, really?" I said indifferently. "How long have you two been together?" This question hit Talia right in the heart. She crossed her arms in front of her chest. "Over a year." So, while Jet and I were still married, he had already been cheating on me. I raised my hand to touch my chest, but there wasn't even a hint of pain. It seemed Jet had truly drained all my love away. Before I could ask anything else, the door burst open again in a hurry. Jet had come back. "What are you doing here?" Jet's face was filled with displeasure, and his tone was particularly harsh. Talia hurriedly stood up from the couch. "Jet. Enough. Work-related matters can be handled through my secretary. There's no need to come to my home." Jet abruptly cut off Talia's unfinished words. Talia's face instantly turned pale. I stood by, watching this farce unfold. Then, "I'll go first." Talia practically fled in panic. Jet's gaze finally landed on me. He opened his mouth, instinctively wanting to explain. "Jet, you don't need to explain to me." I interrupted him. I understand, business people sometimes have to play their part in these social performances. Hearing my words, he also let out a sigh of relief. You, understanding me is enough. Jet suddenly paused. She didn't tell you anything else, did she? I think she did. I deliberately hesitated, watching Jet's nervous expression and feeling inexplicably pleased. I've forgotten anyway, nothing important was said. I added with a smile. That's good, that's good. Jet glanced at his watch. I'll take care of the trending topic as soon as possible. Don't overthink it. Will you be coming back tonight? Need to work overtime, won't be back. Struggling to suppress a smile, I escorted Jet to the door. After Jet left, I immediately sent a message to Knox. Soon enough, Knox arrived. He even brought me a bouquet of roses, saying the most beautiful flowers should go to the one he loves most, me. With a light laugh, I reached out to take it. Thank you. Don't be so formal with me. It hurts my feelings, Knox said, intertwining his fingers with mine. What would you like to eat tonight? I'll cook for you. Tilting my head in thought, I replied, braised pork, please. No problem. Knox leaned down to kiss my cheek, then walked into the kitchen. He deftly tied on my pink apron and began washing the vegetables. I leaned against the doorframe, watching him intently. His head slightly bowed, his bare arms tensed with slight effort, revealing faint veins, then I caught sight of his slender, well-defined fingers handling the vegetables. There was an indescribable sexiness to it. And then I felt it, my heart starting to race. For no reason at all, I wished time could freeze right then. Just as Knox finished cooking and we were about to start eating together, we heard the sound of the door code being entered. The next second, the door swung open. Unexpectedly, Jet had returned. I'm back, Jet said, removing his coat as our eyes met. His gaze then shifted to Knox, his expression clearly startled. Perfect timing. You can join us for dinner, I said with a smile, trying to ease the tension. Yeah, Knox chimed in, nodding in agreement. Jet's glance swept past the roses placed on the coffee table before he walked over and sat down beside me. Roses, did you buy them? Jet asked Knox. Knox and I exchanged a look before he nodded without hesitation. Yeah, I bought them. Thought I'd bring them over and ask sis-in-law if girls generally like this kind of thing. Jet sighed in relief, his expression softening a little. The dinner ended up passing without any major incidents. I walked into the kitchen with the bowls and chopsticks, faintly hearing the conversation between Jet and Knox. Jet, we've known each other for so many years, don't you trust me? Knox paused and added, besides, coming to your house was your idea, you asked me to persuade Sarah more. Sorry, I overthought it. Alright, let's drop this. How about grabbing drinks tonight? It's been a while since we relaxed. Sure. Then let's go. Knox said naturally. Then Jet and Knox walked into the kitchen. I won't be back tonight, I have something to attend to. Jet said to me. I nodded, and when my gaze met Knox's, he winked at me. Suppressing a smile, I spoke insincerely, take care of yourself. Then the two of them hurried away. I had just returned to the bedroom when the phone in my pocket suddenly vibrated intensely. Picking it up, I froze in place for a moment. It was actually my mom calling. Since I married Jet against my parents' wishes, I had completely lost contact with them. It wasn't that I didn't want to go back or call them, I just didn't dare. I felt unworthy. Just as the call was about to disconnect on its own, I panicked and answered. Hey, is that Sarah? My mother's familiar and affectionate voice flooded my ears, instantly bringing a lump to my throat. Mom, it's me. Your dad and I saw the news, you and Jet got a divorce, didn't you? Yes. Then come home tomorrow. Your dad and I, we've missed you. Without him, you still have me and your dad. Don't be sad for him. My mother's choked voice reached my ears. I could no longer hold back my tears. Okay, I'll come home tomorrow. My mother's phone call kept me up all night. Since my home is in City A, the drive takes about 4 hours. So as soon as dawn broke, I got up to pack. Before leaving, I sent a message to Knox, "I'm going home." Knox replied almost instantly, "Okay, be safe on the road." At 9 in the morning, I was already home. But as I stood at the door, I felt afraid. My heart seemed drowned in seawater, the suffocating and uneasy sensation making my legs go weak. Yet before I could crouch down to collect myself, the door swung open from the inside. Before I could even react, my mother had already wrapped her arms around me. "You wretched child, how could you be so heartless, not giving me a single call for years? Would you never have come home if I hadn't called you? Even after the divorce, you didn't come home, didn't tell me." Her tears seeped into my clothes, stinging my skin. The regret in my heart nearly overwhelmed me. "I'm sorry, it was all my fault." I burst into tears, nearly crying out all the grievances I had endured over the years. All right, our daughter barely managed to come home." "Stop crying for now," my father gently patted my mother's back. "I won't cry anymore. Let's all stop crying." My mother warmly took my hand and said, "Your dad specially made your favorite dishes. Come and try them quickly." "Okay." I nodded vigorously in response. Throughout the entire day, my parents didn't mention Jet, and I knew they were afraid of upsetting me. It wasn't until night fell that my mother cautiously asked, "Sweetheart, do you still want to get back together with him?" I shook my head firmly. "No. Alas." My mother sighed softly, "This time, your dad and I have reflected. Whatever decision you make, we'll support you, just don't disappear on us again." The light fell on my parents, revealing the wrinkles at the corners of their eyes, and their hair no longer as black as before. "Dad, Mom, I'm sorry." I cried and knelt on the ground. I knew I was wrong. Parents always think of their children in every way, while children always believe that the outside world is freedom and heaven. Once I thought that with love, I had the whole world. Later, I realized that my parents are the whole world. After 4 years, I moved back into my old bedroom. At a glance, I could tell it had been cleaned regularly, every corner was as spotless as if I'd left it yesterday. I had just lain down on the bed when Jet called me. "Come pick me up, I'm drunk." His drunken voice, mixed with the clamor around us, reached my ears. I instinctively furrowed my brows. Because his words brought back memories of the past. Back then, I was especially afraid of Jet drinking because I worried someone might take advantage of him. So I told Jet that if he ever got drunk, he must call me, I'd come pick him up. Jet seems to have remembered this sentence all too well, even though we're already divorced. Before I could refuse, Knox's voice came through the phone. "Sarah, don't worry about him. I'll take him home." Knox seemed to have moved to a quieter place. The noise faded away, leaving only his deep, pleasant voice. "Did you miss me?" Before I could speak, he added, "I missed you." A sudden exclamation came from the other side, and Knox spoke again. "Can't talk now, Jet fell. I need to take him home first." "Okay," I replied softly. I turned to look out the window, Knox's words echoing incessantly in my mind. "Did you miss me?" Yet the next day, as I stepped out to take out the trash, I saw Knox immediately. He stood downstairs, his gaze raw and earnest. "How come you're here? When did you arrive?" I asked in disbelief. Yet his gaze seemed evasive. Did I disturb you?" His cautious demeanor made me sad. It felt like my heart had been struck. So I decisively shook my head and denied it. "No." "That's good then." Without warning, Knox suddenly bent down and hugged me. "I just missed you too much, wanted to come see you, I'll leave in a bit." The chill radiating from his body reached me in wisps. I knew he must have waited for a long time. He didn't dare text me for fear of disturbing my sleep or alerting my family, so he just stood silently outside, waiting alone. Holding him back, I felt a pang of heartache. It's not like I wasn't coming back. I was just scared that all of this might just be an illusion. I sensed his unease. So I kissed his cheeks twice. How could it possibly be fake? Knox finally smiled again, the breeze brushing past his slightly reddened eyes. He said, I bought some fruits and tonics. You can take them up to your aunt and uncle later. Alright, thank you for your thoughtfulness. It's the least I could do. It wasn't until later that I found out Jet had drunkenly murmured my name in his sleep that night. This unsettled Knox somewhat. He was afraid I might turn back. Just as Knox turned to leave, something inexplicable made me call out to him. Knox? He stopped in his tracks and looked back at me. What is it? After I go back, let's make it public. Is it really true? I nodded vigorously and replied with certainty, yes, it's true. I can't, and don't want to, fail someone who loves me deeply. I'm not Jet, I understand the value of love and know to cherish it. The first thing I did after returning home was pack my belongings. Not only was I moving out of this marital home I shared with Jet, but I also listed it for sale on the market. Jet was the first to know the news. By the time I stepped out of the shower, I found that Jet had already called me 10 times. When the 11th call came through, I leisurely answered it. Are you selling our marital home? Yes. Why? But before I could speak, Jet added, I know you want to get back together, but you can't use these tactics. You know this house was left to me by my grandmother, and it means a lot to me. You could always buy it back at a higher price, I said calmly, gazing into the night. A cool evening breeze stirred my dark hair as someone draped a blanket over my shoulders. I turned my head and met Knox's deep, penetrating eyes. Nothing else to say, so I'm hanging up. With that, I ended the call. It's getting cold, be careful not to catch a chill. Okay. I leaned lightly into Knox's embrace, feeling his scorching heartbeat. This was the kind of care I had never received from Jet. 3 a.m. The phone suddenly rang, jolting both Knox and me awake. Knox covered my ear with one hand while reaching for the phone with the other. It was a call from Jet. Without hesitation, Knox pressed to hang up. But the next second, the phone rang again. Knowing Jet's temperament all too well, Knox could only helplessly answer the call. Hey, Jet, what's up? Knox, do you know where Sarah went? She hasn't come home for days, and even listed our marital home for sale. I can't find her anywhere to talk. Knox turned his head to glance at me, his arm around me tightening slightly. I see, he said. Can you help me find her? Jet paused on the other end of the line, then added, I'm not worried about anything else, I'm just afraid she might harm herself because I won't remarry her. I abruptly sat halfway up, my eyes fixed intently on Knox's phone. Did I attempt suicide for him? What does he think he is, money? Lose something and you want to die? Without hesitation, I snatched the phone from his hand. Jet, you're overthinking it. I won't die, least of all because of you. The cold moonlight cast a sliver of light across half of my face, as if trying to split me apart. The other end of the line remained silent for a long time. I thought Jet should have gotten the message after that night. But to my utter surprise, he showed up again the very next day. I ran into Jet as I was heading downstairs. Before I could say a word, he grabbed my wrist. How could you stay at Knox's place? Even if you're close, he's still a man. Jet frowned deeply, speaking in a stern tone. Come back with me. I really can't figure out Jet out, whether he's pretending to be dumb or actually is. I'm not going back, I won't go back. I forcefully shook off Jet's hand, saying coldly. Jet let out a light sigh, seemingly exhausted. You overheard my conversation with Knox yesterday. I didn't speak, staring straight at him. Jet reached into his pocket and pulled out a cigarette, placing it in his mouth. He took a deep drag and exhaled a perfect smoke ring. Do you know, if I hadn't known Knox for so many years, I'd almost suspect the two of you were together. And what if we really were together? I suppressed a sarcastic retort and shot back. The next second, Jet crushed his cigarette underfoot. Impossible. I shrugged, unsure where his confidence came from. In a little while, we'll remarry, so stop quarreling with me, alright? Before I could say anything, Jet's phone suddenly vibrated. It was a call from his secretary. He answered with a couple of quick responses, then hung up. There's some issue at the company. I have to go. I'll buy back the marital home, you can move back in any time. With that, Jet strode away. Paparazzi really live up to their name. The moment Jet repurchased the marital home at a high price, I was back on the hot searches that same night. The headline read, Jet and ex-wife countdown to remarriage. I was so angry I nearly threw my phone. Yet it was Knox who patted my back. Alright, don't be mad. Come eat. He gently embraced me, his soft hair brushing against my cheek. Aren't you upset? I asked him. No need. As long as you're here with me now. Knox's words struck straight at my heart, so I gently wrapped my arms around him. Perfect timing. Let's go public now. Since Jet didn't believe it, I'd show him through reality. I turned on the camera and pressed the shutter button, capturing a photo of Knox and me. Because I took the photo with one hand, the image turned out a bit blurry. But that didn't matter, it was clear enough to make things plain. So I posted the picture with the caption, I will never remarry Jet. Knox stared at me intently, his deep gaze as if trying to pull me into his eyes. I reached out to touch his cheek. Why aren't you smiling? Because I'd rather kiss you. My eyes widened slightly, and the next second Knox's lips descended on mine. Dominant, not allowing me any chance to retreat. Perhaps it was because of my biological clock that my eyes opened on the dot at 7 o'clock in the morning. I turned my head to look at Knox lying beside me, his full forehead, high-bridged nose, and those rosy lips that seemed to beg for a kiss. The sight alone made my restless urges stir again. But before I could take any action, the door was knocked on urgently and forcefully. I got up in confusion, wondering who could be knocking this early. A delivery person? I impatiently got up, put on my bathrobe, and opened the door barefoot. Who is it? The rest of my words stuck in my throat. Standing outside the door was Jet. Who is he? Which man is he? Jet roared at me furiously. Tell me, which pretty boy dares to covet my wife? Jet pushed me aside and tried to barge in. Instinctively, I grabbed his arm. He turned back to look at me in disbelief, his eyes instantly turning red. What do you mean? Are you defending him? Jet paused, his voice hoarse. Sarah, don't forget we're only pretending to be divorced. Does pretending to be divorced mean it's not a real divorce? I retorted. Jet instantly understood my point. A divorce certificate is real, meaning the divorce is real. No one cares what you called it initially, whether it was fake or not. So you have no right to interfere in my relationships. Who I'm with is my freedom, I continued. Besides, he's not just some pretty boy. What is that? Tell me what that is. What am I to you now? Jet suddenly interrupted my unfinished words, looking at me with sorrow in his eyes. The knife of the fake divorce had finally struck him. Ex-husband, of course. I shrugged. Jet suddenly laughed. The bitter smile stretched from the corners of his mouth all the way to his ears. But the words that came out of his mouth were terrifying. I'm going to kill him. With that, Jet violently shook off my hand and rushed straight toward the bedroom. However, before Jet could even push open the bedroom door, it swung open from the inside. Knox stepped out, his upper body completely bare. Jet seemed unable to believe his eyes, his pupils dilating and contracting repeatedly. Huh. What the hell are you two doing? Jet shook his head to himself. Knox, don't tell me the man in Sarah's photo is you. It's me. As soon as Knox's words landed, the entire room fell silent, leaving only faint sounds of breathing. Fine. Jet said fine 3 times in a row, glaring at Knox with gritted teeth. Soon, Jet grabbed Knox by the collar and slammed him hard against the wall. Knox, I considered you my best brother, and this is how you treat me? Sleeping with my wife behind my back, secretly cuckolding me. Knox remained remarkably composed in the face of Jet's rage. Jet, I didn't sleep with your wife, nor did I cuckold you. You and Sarah are already divorced. She belongs to herself and has the right to pursue love. As a single man, I also have the right to chase after someone I like. Knox raised his eyes to meet Jet's gaze, enunciating each word clearly. If you didn't cherish her, why can't someone else? This sentence struck like a thorn, instantly deflating Jet's ballooning fury. After that day, I never saw Jet again. At the same time, I didn't care. Knox and I were too busy planning where to go for vacation. But on this day, I received a call from Jet's grandmother. Staring at the name Grandma flashing on the phone, I felt like I was dreaming. Because from the moment I married her grandson until now, Jet's grandmother had never welcomed me. Even during holidays, it was always Jet who went home alone. And me, having fallen out with my parents, could only stay by myself in the marital home. I once suggested going home with Jet, even foolishly swearing to him that I would follow Grandma's lead and not provoke her temper. Yet Jet still refused me. He said, you know, Grandma is old and can't handle big emotional swings. The implication was clear, don't go. I thought, now that his grandson and I are divorced, why is she calling me? Just as the call was about to disconnect, I tapped to answer. Hello. Is that Sarah? I am. Jet. Jet hasn't been to the company for days. Could you check on him for me? This was the first time I had ever heard Jet's grandmother speak words that could almost be called pleading. After all, when Jet first took me to meet her, she didn't say a single word to me, yet her entire demeanor radiated nothing but scorn for me. Sorry, Jet and I are already divorced, I declined flatly. I know, but as an old woman, I'm truly at my wit's end. The assistant went, I went as well, but Jet just won't open the door. I'm begging you as his grandmother, okay? Her aged voice trembled with sobs. I knew how important Jet was to her. After his parents died in a car accident, she had raised him single-handedly. I swallowed hard, my heart tangled in conflict. I couldn't bring myself to refuse an old woman's plea, yet at the same time, I really wanted nothing more to do with Jet. At that very moment, someone took hold of my hand. Following the distinct bones of that large hand, I saw Knox's face. He gave me a slight nod. I immediately understood what he meant. Knox could never stand to see me in distress. So I slowly said, okay, I'll go see Jet. Really? That's wonderful, thank you, Sarah. Hanging up the phone, I locked eyes with Knox. Will you come with me? Yes, he answered firmly. Knox drove me back to our marital home. I'll wait for you here. Okay, I'll hurry. Just as I was about to get out of the car, Knox suddenly grabbed my wrist. I turned to look at him, but he abruptly released his grip. He restrained himself and looked at me. If you don't come out within 10 minutes, I'll come in to find you. I sensed his panic and unease, so I leaned in and kissed his cheek. Okay. Finally, a faint smile appeared on his face. I got out of the car and expertly entered the passcode on the door lock. It was still the date I originally set, the day Jet and I got our marriage certificate. With a click, the door opened, and I stepped inside. For a moment, I wondered if I had entered an entirely different world. The room was pitch black, not a sliver of sunlight seeping through. The air was thick with the nauseating mix of smoke and alcohol. Frowning, I quickly flipped on the lights. In an instant, the room flooded with brightness, revealing Jet lying shirtless on the couch. I couldn't tell if he was asleep or dead. Without hesitation, I walked over and shoved him roughly. Jet. Jet groggily opened his eyes, and when his gaze landed on me, he abruptly sat halfway up. You're back? I subtly took a half step back. Now that you're awake, hurry up and call your grandma so she won't worry. I paused briefly, I'm leaving. With that, I turned to go. But as if waking from a dream, Jet blocked my path in just 2 steps. His eyes were bloodshot, his face so pale it seemed drained of color. "Don't you dare leave. Who said you could go?" His voice was harsh at first, but weakened in the very next moment. "Let's remarry right now, okay? I won't hold it against you for being with him. We can start fresh." He looked at me with sorrow. I remained silent, staring back. "Please." His voice trembled, and at last, I saw his tears falling like beads that cost nothing. Yet all I felt was ridiculous. "Jet, the only reason you want to remarry me now is because I'm with your brother, and you can't stand it." I pulled my lips into a sarcastic smirk and tried to walk past him. Just as we brushed shoulders, Jet grabbed my arm. "It's not because I can't stand it, it's because I like you." I stared at him indifferently. "Really? But I can't remarry you because I'm already married to Knox. Remarrying you would make it bigamy." I forcefully shook off Jet's hand and pushed the door open to leave. As I stepped out, Knox was standing right outside the door. He didn't ask what had happened inside. He simply held my hand firmly. "I know where we're going now." "Where?" "Come home with me," Knox said with a smile. I froze in shock, instinctively stopping in my tracks. This is too sudden." "No, they've known I was married for a while. Now it's time to take you back to meet them. But I'm a little scared." "Don't be afraid, I'm here." Knox and I strode forward, the setting sun falling behind us, our shadows pressed closely together. Knox and I got married the day after he confessed his love for me. At the time, he said he loved me. I didn't believe it at all. I thought he was just joking with me. Anger and resentment swelled within me, so I sneered and said, "If you love me, then come with me to get registered tomorrow." Knox agreed without hesitation. The very next morning, he took me to get our marriage license, as if afraid I might change my mind. After that day, Jet tried to contact me a few times. I simply blocked his number. I didn't want anything to do with him anymore. In the end, I went home with Knox that day. Deep down, I felt insecure. After all, I was married once before, and I feared Knox might be ridiculed because of it. Suddenly, I felt that I simply wasn't good enough for Knox. And Knox saw right through my hesitation. He lifted my chin, making me meet his gaze. "Sarah, if it's not you, I don't want anyone else." I nodded, nearly moved to tears. "As long as we can be happy, nothing else matters. No matter what you've been through, you have the right to pursue happiness. My parents are very easy to get along with, don't worry." Indeed, as Knox had said, his parents were very open-minded and liked me as well. The meal was prepared with all my favorite dishes, and they kept putting food on my plate. The warm and harmonious atmosphere made me realize that it was all Knox's doing. It was thanks to him that his parents liked me. Outside the window, heavy snow was falling, quickly piling up on the ground. Traveling at night in such heavy snow isn't safe. "You should stay and leave tomorrow," Knox's mother suggested. I had no reason to refuse, so I stayed overnight there. When I walked into Knox's childhood room, what came into view were walls covered with car models and various Rubik's cubes. My gaze slowly drifted downward and was instantly drawn to a photo placed on his desk. It was a class photo from elementary school. What caught my attention was spotting myself in that group photo. Without thinking, I picked up the picture to examine it closely. It really was me. Before I could figure it out, the door opened again. Knox walked in and immediately noticed the photo in my hand. "You still found out?" I looked at him puzzled. "What do you mean?" Knox pulled me to sit on the edge of the bed, pointing his finger at the boy wearing black-rimmed glasses in the front row. "I used to be called Killian." I widened my eyes in disbelief. Killian, that name rings a bell. Back then, due to my parents' work, I transferred to a new elementary school, and the first person I met was Killian. Because he was skinny and small, always wearing glasses. At first glance, he seemed like an obedient and well-behaved child. And such children often end up being the least popular in class. There were always some who took pleasure in bullying them. Killian at that time was one of their targets. Once, because I was late, I happened to see Killian being cornered by those kids at the school gate. Without a second thought, I ran to get the school security guard and rescued Killian from their hands. Killian's face was streaked with tears, and his uniform was covered in dirt. I felt a pang of sadness and said, "What's the use of crying? If crying could solve everything, everyone would just cry all the time. Then what should I do? If you can fight, fight. If you can't, then run." This is the only conversation I still remember, because after this day, Killian transferred schools. I looked at Knox incredulously and examined him carefully from head to toe. "You really are Killian, but why did you change your name? And why aren't you wearing glasses anymore?" "My mom said that name wasn't good, so she changed it for me. I stopped wearing glasses because I had laser eye surgery." I tugged at the corner of my lips, teasing him on purpose. "You didn't have a crush on me since then, did you?" Knox didn't deny it. Instead, he nodded frankly. "Yes, it started that very day. When I saw you running toward me, it was no less than an angel coming my way. So, Sarah, I love you. Even if you don't love me, I'll always love you." Knox hugged me tightly. I could hear the choke in his voice and feel the tremble in his body. I embraced him back with equal force. "We will spend countless springs, summers, autumns, and winters together. How could this not be love? So, I love you too. Extra. My name is Knox. I used to be called Killian. Because I didn't like eating when I was a child, I grew up thin and small. My hair even turned yellow due to lack of nutrition. My mom often criticized me for this, but I would turn a deaf ear to all her words. I didn't understand what was so good about eggs, which were so hard to swallow, nor did I get the appeal of yogurt with its fermented taste. Yet the consequence of refusing these things was, from the start of school, I always sat in the front row, stood in the front row during exercises, and stood in the front row when singing. I always thought these were trivial matters. Until the bullying landed on me. It was an utterly ordinary day. The crippled boy who'd been constantly bullied dropped out of school. The teacher told me to clean out the stuff in his desk cubby, and the first thing I saw was his school bag inside. I figured he must have forgotten to take it. So I placed his bag on the floor at the back of the classroom, but that very action somehow provoked those people. The school bell had just rung when they staggered back. They immediately spotted the backpack and, after a stunned second, kicked it away. "Who put this bag here?" he roared, startling me. I did. I stood up, meeting his gaze. "Interesting," they said, sizing me up with a quiet smirk. It was only later that I realized placing their disabled classmate's school bag on the ground was both a provocation and a source of fear for them. They weren't unaware that this was wrong, but they relished the thrill of dominating others. And that thrill always prevailed. From that day onward, the bullying shifted to me. They would fill my backpack with ink, just like the one I had placed on the ground. Before I could even fight back, I was met by my rescuer. That day, as usual, they cornered me at the school gate, just when I thought I was about to be mocked again. I saw Sarah. She ran toward me like an angel, so much so that I forgot to cry. Whatever she said to me, I don't remember a word of it. I stared at her dazedly, my ears filled with the sound of my pounding heart. Sadly, after that day, she and I never crossed paths again. My mother found out about the bullying and transferred me to another school. I didn't even get the chance to thank her. At that time, I thought I'd surely have an opportunity to express my gratitude someday. So when I encountered her again in university, I believed it was fate granting us another meeting. I am both happy and sad, happy to meet again, yet sad that she has forgotten me and fallen for my good friend Jet. I could only suppress my love and watch her pour her heart out for Jet. I thought, if she could be happy, that would be my happiness too. Unfortunately, Jet did not bring her happiness. He grew tired of Sarah's affection and began craving freedom, yet he also feared how Sarah might react. If he didn't love her, why would he be afraid? But I had no intention of reminding him. So he deceived Sarah into a divorce. I knew it when he tricked Sarah into the divorce. I didn't stop him because I knew my chance had come. The suppressed love had grown wildly, towering like a giant tree. I could no longer hold back. If you asked me which memory I'd most want to forget, it would undoubtedly be the days when Sarah learned Jet had deceived her. Her pain was my pain. And my love for Sarah, it never changed from beginning to end.